What's up guys, I got a brand new video for you today. Today we're looking at the Atomos Ninja V. I got it right here in my hands. And I know I'm a little bit late to the review on this thing. It's been out for a little while now, but I think it's still pretty relevant, especially since nothing has really come out to compete with it. And ever since Nikon's announcement that they partnered with Atomos, they're gonna allow the ProRes RAW through the HDMI. That's pretty awesome. There still hasn't been an update yet. I don't think on the Z6 it'll allow it to record to this, but fingers crossed it'll be coming soon, and I hope that it's gonna also be coming soon to the Sony A7iii. So getting right into the specs, this is a 1080p panel, it's 5 inches, it's 1000 nits, so super bright. It's also an HDR display, so you can monitor HDR and HLG. It can record up to 4K 60 frames per second, 10-bit 422. It'll also record up to 120 frames per second, 1080p. It does all this at ProRes LT, HQ, and 422. And with the new firmware, this is gonna be able to do ProRes RAW, which it kind of came out last year, I guess, but yeah, that's pretty exciting. The best part is it records cheap SSDs. This is 1 terabyte, and I think it was like under $200. Something like a CFast 2 card at 1 terabyte is getting close to almost $1,000 or somewhere around there. So cheap media. The cool thing is you can actually edit straight off this, just plug it into your computer and you're good to go. Definitely one of the easier ways to transfer media and record media. This is a full-size SSD on here right now, so it kind of sticks out the side. Not super convenient, so they do make half SSDs that fit and hug the body properly. Some company like Angelbird actually makes half-size SSDs. They're called Atom X SSDs, so they fit in here perfectly and you don't really have to have it sticking out the side like this. And speaking of size, this thing is small. Like for what it does, it's super thin, especially without the SSD on it. It's tiny. It's pretty much the same size as something like the Small HD Focus, maybe just a tiny little bit thicker, but considering it's a recorder and a monitor, it's really not that big. The body's all aluminum, it's solid built, it's really well made, it's got a nice satin black finish to it. You've got 1/4-20 mounts on the top and on the bottom, so you can mount it either from the top mount or from the bottom mount. Just like most Atomos recorders, there's a lot of settings. I'm not gonna go through them all, but right here I'm just setting up my camera input and setting to Rec 709. Then I'm gonna set my codec, so I'm gonna be using ProRes HQ. And first, one of the settings I'm gonna use is focus peaking and turn on my waveforms. The waveforms you can actually double tap to make them bigger or smaller, and you can go in and actually set the opacity and brightness and things like that. Most of your settings are in the bottom menu, so you can turn on false color to check your exposure, or you can actually go black and white, which really helps with focus peaking because it's the only thing that'll be in color. And going back to focus peaking, you can actually change the color of the focus peaking to whatever color you want, or change the intensity. And if you swipe the bottom menu bar over, you get a few more settings here. We can actually punch in 2 times and move it around here and check your focus, or you can also turn on different aspect markers. I also want to show how you can monitor HLG, so you change it in the input settings to HLG, then you're going to go up to the monitor and you're going to change it to HLG, and that actually kind of puts on sort of a LUT that's built into the monitor, and you can adjust your waveforms here and see and monitor HLG this way. Also, you're able to use S-Log and switch out and be able to actually install a LUT on this thing. So what you would do is you'd install a LUT in Premiere and then put it on the SSD, and you can load the LUT in off the SSD through the monitor. So right here I'm just finding the LUT, and then I can actually load it in here, and then it'll apply to the actual image. Now this LUT isn't baked in, this is just on the monitor so you can see it. One other nice thing is that when you're shooting with 4K video plugged in through HDMI on Sony cameras, face detection always becomes disabled. So you can go to 4K output, select HDMI only, and then you'll have full face detection, and you can just record with the actual monitor. You don't have to record to the camera this way, and you'll have full functionality as you can see here. As you can tell, this thing is loaded with features. It adds a lot of different filmmaking tools that you wouldn't get with your camera otherwise, and it has some of the best focus peaking out of any monitor I've used. So I've been shooting a lot of stuff with this. One of the big reasons why I bought it was so that I could actually record the back of my camera to show like face detection and things like that. But I actually did take it with me to Vancouver to shoot a music video a couple months ago now, and we shot it all on this with the A7iii. We just wanted to keep the package light and small because we were hiking in the mountains and things like that. Out of the A7 III, you don't really get anything more than just 422. It's still 8-bit, so I had no issues with it. It worked flawlessly the whole time. Battery life was pretty decent. I never had any freezing or anything like that. We shot a lot of stuff in 60 frames per second, and the cool thing with this monitor is you can actually play the stuff back in slow motion. You can reverse it and then play it back again, and it's pretty handy being able to do that. So I brought 3 NP F970s. These are actually the 770s, a little smaller. I have a bigger one here. So these are the 970s, or almost twice the height of these. But I took 3 of these with me and I was able to shoot all day with them. And that was me shooting 4K 30 FPS ProRes HQ with a little bit of 60 frames per second thrown in there. But yeah, it lasted all day. I also want to mention I had it on full brightness because I was shooting outside. So full brightness, 4K 30, ProRes HQ with 3 of these batteries, and I pretty much got through the entire day. So I found with the full brightness on and recording 4K at the highest quality, you're getting around an hour out of one battery. If you're recording 4K 60, I would imagine that you would get a little bit less battery life, but that's what I noticed at 4K 30. It's definitely easy to say that Atomos knocked it out of the park with this. There really isn't much better than this, especially in the size and the price. There's only a few things that I would mention that I don't really like about it. It does have a fan in it because there is a lot of processing going on and it gets hot. It is audible, but it's definitely not as loud as something like the Ninja Inferno that I had before. Keep in mind you will be ripping through batteries if you're not using the big 970s. The 770s burn up a little faster, they're like 30 minutes. Whereas the bigger batteries actually last up to about an hour. But one nice thing is they do include a power adapter, so if you're not out in the field and you're just in a studio, you can plug it actually into the wall. And one other cool thing is they have some pins in here, like communication pins. Ever since I actually got this, Atomos came out with a few new things. So they've added an SDI option you can actually mount off the back of this. I think they're doing a wireless option and a few other things like that. So that's pretty cool. That opens up a few doors to different technology. If you're shooting HDR or HLG, there aren't too many other monitors out there that can do that, especially being able to actually monitor it with built-in LUTs and things like that. So this is a really cool option if you want to be able to monitor your HLG and you're not quite sure about your exposure and stuff like that. It's really nice having this to monitor that way. And one other cool thing that I actually showed previously is that you're actually able to do face detection with the Sony A7 III in 4K and being able to actually see what you're doing. With other monitors, the face detection just kind of locks out right as soon as you hit record, but with this you can actually record it through this and you'll be able to get face detection 4K video out of your A7 III. So let's talk price. It's around $695 US at B&H. It's a couple $100 more than a small HD Focus, but you're getting an entire recorder built into this thing. So I definitely think it's worth the value. It's under $1,000, way under $1,000. You got a 4K 60 ProRes RAW recorder in this thing. And a nice monitor if you just wanted to use it as a monitor. If you're thinking about picking one of these up, I'll put a link in the description where to find that. And that's it. I think I'm done. I think I talked about this thing enough. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, give it a thumbs down twice. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.